Jeremy Miner made $33 million in his career as a sales rep with his method called NEPQ. In this video, I sat down with him and learned the entire framework that took him from being a broke college kid to making over 100 grand, sometimes in a week as a sales rep. And we also dove into the real reason why most reps never make it past 10K a month, and why, in fact, 10K a month is probably one of the dangerous places to be as a sales rep, and why most get stuck there. So if you've been taking sales calls that lead to nowhere, and you're struggling with objections, or maybe you just want to learn how to close bigger deals, this may be the last sales training you ever need. Jeremy is someone that I look up to, that I've respected for a long time. I was really honored to do this. I will see you guys on the other side of it.
All right, so we are live today. So welcome to our Wednesday live here. If you're in the Facebook group, Sales Revolution, my name is Jeremy Miner, the founder of Seventh Level. Now, every week we interview a new client, and we typically try to pick different industries. We train 161 different industries, including everybody's watching me here today. And we go live and we talk about, really what changed for them. So, there's certain levels, like we want salespeople we're interviewing that have gotten to certain closing percentages and skill levels they developed that now have gotten them up to the top 10% in their company, or the top 5%, the top 1%. They could be the number one salesperson in their company. Heck, some clients we've gotten here to like literally the top salesperson in their industries, or the top 1% industry. So every week we're going to interview a new client in here. So make sure you tell us who you are right when you right when you get on here. Welcome, Laura. Welcome, Mohammed. Welcome, Mark. Conane there, right? Or I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name right. Laura Metzger here. Hey, you were 7th level. Tom Cavavo. Now, when you get on here, when you're on the live right now, I want each of you to post hashtag live. So if you're on the live right now, go down to the comments section. I see you on my phone here, and I want you to post hashtag live. So I'm watching you here, guys. I'm watching you. Who does this? So on the phone, go down to the comments section, post hashtag live if you're on the live. And if you're on the replay, I want you to post hashtag replay. Okay, so if you're on the live, post hashtag live, replay, post hashtag replay. Now, in case you just started, you just joined the Facebook group. Like I said, I'm Jeremy Miner, the founder. Seventh Level is a sales training organization that helps salespeople exactly like you. Just watching us right here. So we train salespeople like you, sales professionals like you, sales executives like you, sales leaders, management, business owners, consultants, entrepreneurs, coaches, and we train you and your teams certain techniques, certain questions, and how to use your tonality, your body language that work with human behavior rather than work against it. That's a big deal, okay? Now, today we're going to interview a client that, has only been here with us a year. Sometimes we interview clients that might have been here for 5 years. I've done that before. Sometimes I interview clients that have been here a year. Sometimes even interview a few clients that have only been here for 90 days. And we're going to talk about the skills that they have developed and what those skills have really done for them in their sales career to help you, to inspire you that you can acquire those skills as well once you get the training necessary to get to that level. Okay, so whether you want to make more commissions or get a higher base salary because you sell more, perform more, or maybe you want to get promoted, selling ability is going to affect whether you can do that or not, your sales skills. Okay, now this week we interview this gentleman here, Nick. How are you, man?
I'm good. I'm good.
All right, I got to ask you. I recognize you because you're you're one of our advanced inner circle clients, and usually, our advanced inner circle program is a 6-month program. We do have a 12-month version as well. A lot of people are in it, but sometimes, after about 3-4 months, I start seeing less and less of those inner circle clients. Then all of a sudden, I start seeing big testimonials about the success they've had, and they're like, "Hey, I've got this down." And sometimes it takes some people a little bit longer. But how long have you been in Inner Circle now?
I joined Inner Circle at the beginning of this year, so January, like 6 months.
About 6 months. You're in the 6-month program. Okay, that's good. Now, let's go back. So why don't you tell everybody what you actually sell? Let's start there. I know you're with something with YouTube.
Yeah, so I'm in the high ticket coaching space, right? So it's like a business opportunity, teaching people how to make money online on YouTube. It's like
Okay,
a little more complicated than that, but like it's a business opportunity sale.
it's like YouTube automation, right?
Yeah, yeah. So the company I work for, they teach people how to like put a team of freelancers together and then post videos on YouTube without showing their face and get paid from that.
It's a very interesting, unique thing. All right, so you help people maybe make a little extra income or have more time with their families through YouTube and stuff. Okay, we'll get into that. Now, is this your first sales job or did you sell something before?
I mean, I've been on a couple offers, probably like two or three. So I haven't been on too many offers, but most of them were in this space of business opportunity
So you've been selling this company for how long? Let's start there.
since October.
Okay, since October. Now, before you became a client, how did you sell? Before you knew anything about NEPQ, before you became a client, because I think you started in our NEPQ 3.0 program, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
So it's
before you go
mhm.
into that, how did you sell? I have to know.
So it's a little unique for me. I don't have this story of like I was selling this way, creating a bunch of resistance, and everybody hated me, and then I found NEPQ and everyone loved me. It's a little different. I've only been in
Okay.
sales for like a year, right? And so when I got into sales, NEPQ was the way I learned how to sell, like from the beginning.
And fresh.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't have a bunch of bad habits to unlearn.
Okay. So sometimes that's good. Now, I
Yeah,
know when you first started in sales, a little bit before you got in the program, I think that was right in the beginning. I think you said, hey, I was not like the best salesperson in my company. Would we be right?
for sure. Yeah.
Okay. And I think you even told us because full discretion, I don't want to say that, but you said like, hey, I was only making like 3 grand a month. Like
Hmm.
that's okay. Now, okay, so you're down there at the bottom. What
Hmm.
caused you to feel like, hey, I need to get some skills so I can, increase my closing percentages. I want to sell more. What caused you to be like, hey, I need to learn how to do this?
Yeah, man, I was getting frustrated. I felt like I was better than what my income was.
Okay.
And my friend, probably shouldn't say this, but like he gave me access to your course, so the 2.0. So he gave me the logins and stuff, and I went through that. And I was like, okay, this guy knows what he's talking about. So then I went and
Which is
invested in
which is
3.0.
which is illegal, but that's okay.
Yeah, yeah, maybe. But so he gave me that, and I was like, okay, this guy knows what he's talking about. So then I got into 3.0 and I paid that. And then that's when I was able to triple my income and then got into inner circle.
Yeah. So you got in there, you tripled your sales, things started going well.
Yeah.
And what do you get paid per sale?
Anywhere from like 200 to like 1,000 per sale.
Okay. So you're down here at this level, then you triple it. Everybody can do the math on that.
Hmm.
Now you're making so you tripled sales. Then here's the question I have for you, because why did you not believe the lie that so many salespeople believe that they can just go through like, free content of Jeremy's on YouTube or IG. They just
Mhm.
go through free content and put in enough reps and work hard and somehow just kind of magically figure it out. Why did you not believe that lie like some salespeople
Yeah,
do?
man. So I did in the beginning, right? I did in the beginning. I was like, I could just like go through all this free stuff. I'll figure it out. And I was just getting really frustrated because like I wasn't making what I thought I deserved to make. And so after just like banging my head against the wall for a few months, going through, the free stuff, going through that program, I was just like, yeah, I need someone who can watch my
Yeah,
calls, who could tell me what I'm doing wrong, etc.
because we don't do that on the free content, right? The free content is basic, right? It's not industry specific at all. People are guessing. It'll take them 25 years to figure that. I can assure you. I went to school for behavioral science and human psychology, and with
Right.
NEP, it took me 12 years to develop that myself. With the behavioral science background, it took me 12 years.
Hmm.
Okay, and we're still developing it, right? So good for you for not believing the lie that so many salespeople do, and they just keep losing tons of sales that they could be making if they were just in our training programs where we teach them the ins and outs. Because we just don't teach that on a 60-second reel or like a
Right.
in a YouTube video. Okay, good. Now, what I want each of you guys to do on here is I want you to start asking questions. Okay, so in the comments here, I want you to ask me and Nick some questions, and Nick's agreed to give you some gold nuggets, maybe some questions we've taught him to ask and how it affects his prospects and kind of how they react to that. He's even going to show you some tonality stuff. So in the comments, I want you to type in, it'll help me and Nick if you tell us what industry you're in. Like, hey, I'm in this industry and my question is this, or I sell life insurance and my question is this, or I sell solar and my question is this, or I sell SaaS and my question is this. And then me and Nick, we will pick the best questions and we'll actually answer for them. So let's talk about this, Nick. So you got in, then you tripled your sales, from you
Mhm.
were making 3 grand, you tripled your sales, so your numbers go up. What caused you to be like, hey, I need to get into, I'm certified in 3.0 Pro now. What made
Mhm.
you like, hey, I want to get into that advanced inner circle because that's a whole nother level.
Yeah, yeah. So for sure, I could have stayed comfortable after tripling my income at 3K, right? But to me, I saw what investing in myself did, and I didn't want to stop there. And I knew there was obviously a lot more that I had to learn. And so it was still pretty uncomfortable doing it again, and it was like double this time. So it was definitely uncomfortable, but I saw what it did the first time, and this is my career, and I plan to be here for a while. So I don't know what else is better to invest in my career. So I just did it.
Okay, coming back to you. Let's start here. What's a good connection question that we've trained you to ask for your industry? Because there's several you got to ask for every industry. What's a good one we asked that you use, and why does it work so well? Just role play with me on.
Yeah, so I start my call just like asking them how they came across us so I could get an idea of like, how deep they are in the funnel. And then my first question is I just like out the gate ask them what they're hoping to achieve with the business that I'm selling.
Okay, give me
Um,
the specific question. Like I'm the prospect. They want to hear that.
yeah, yeah, what's like I guess like the outcome or goal, you're hoping to achieve through YouTube automation.
Yeah, I like that. And I would even relanguage a little bit like, so what were you hoping could possibly happen by working with us in YouTube automation or something like what were you hoping could possibly happen by working with us? Now that's not the first question you're going to ask, right? Because it's more of a question where you want to give them the milk before you give them the meat. So there's like a couple of connection questions before that that really lays that up. Now, why does that question work so well?
I think it works well because you're able to get like a surface level goal and set kind of a frame of the call. Like I'm not going to go straight into solution awareness and dive into like what that would look like for them and everything, right? But like I want some kind of a goal to be able to leverage later when I'm getting back into that. And that's when their
Yeah,
guard's down when I am leveraging that
yeah, and it gets them to qualify to you rather than you qualify to them. Because remember, who has the problems, the prospect or you?
prospect, right?
Not you, salesperson, right? You're the one that has a solution to solve their problem. So why would we qualify to the prospects when we're not the ones that have the problem? So when we use questions like, so what were you hoping could possibly happen by working with us? We still stay neutral,
Hmm.
possibly. What were you hoping could possibly happen you say what were you hoping could happen by working with us possibly, and it's still a neutral term, but then they say, well, I'm hoping this could happen, and not only do they tell themselves what they're telling you what they hope can happen, more importantly they're telling themselves. Okay, so the next thing, what's a good situation question that we've trained you how to use? There's several to ask in every industry, but what's a good situation question we train you to use, and how do your prospects react to that?
Yeah, yeah. So, after that connecting, they'll say something like looking for more freedom or, something along those lines. And I'd be like, okay, and what are you doing for work right now? Like
Yeah.
what are you
Yeah,
currently doing?
yeah, because that makes sense because in situation questions, you have to find out what the real situation is. And not only
Right.
that, you have to get them to understand what the real situation is. So if you're selling what you're doing with where you teach people YouTube automation and how to make a business out of that, they are responding to that because obviously they're probably doing something else that maybe they don't really like and they want to start their own thing and they want to do that through YouTube. So you have to train them how to make a business from that, like a lot of people are. So it
Right.
makes, okay, what do you do for work? What do you do for a living? Okay, and I'm a firefighter. Okay, and how long have you been doing that for? Now, what in your industry we want to ask that question because we want to find out how stable they are. Because
Hmm.
they're like, oh, I just started that last month. Oh, what did you do before? Oh, I was a dishwasher. Nothing wrong with that, but they might not have the funding or the stability to be able to purchase what you're offering if they've been kind of jumping around jobs every couple of months. So that's the reason why we're looking for stability there. Okay. Doesn't
Right.
have to, it doesn't mean they have to be there for 20 years or anything. But if I say, oh, how long did you start the job? Oh, just 2 weeks ago. What did you do before that? Oh, before that, I was going to college and I lived in my mom's basement. Well, that tells me that, hey, but they might not have the funding yet to be able to invest in my solution. So I might have to qualify. So it gives me there. Okay, so there's more questions. What about a problem awareness question? Because after you help them understand what the real situation is, then we need to help them start to build a gap from where
Hmm.
they are to where they want to be. And
Hmm.
we call those problem awareness questions. Give us a problem awareness question. Ask maybe the first one and why it works so well.
Yeah, so I guess why not just like double down, as a firefighter and just like have a nice healthy retirement at 65 and just continue down that path? Like what has you wanting to go through the headache of starting your own business?
Okay, and how do your prospects respond to that?
they'll start, telling me the pain of their career. So something like, I don't like my boss, or I work so many hours, or I'm not able to be with my kids, something along those lines.
Yeah, that's a good one. Another angle you can use for your industry that we see a lot of people in your industry use that we train in advanced center circles, you're just going to lean and say, so you've been a firefighter the last 5 years. Do you 100% like what you're doing for a living?
Yeah, that too. That too.
Why do I say 100%? Why not just say, do you like what you're doing for a living?
Because nothing's ever 100%, right? So like, of course, they're not going to say 100%. And
Yeah, they're
they'll
like, well,
probably,
I like it. I wouldn't say it's 100%, not 100%. What don't you like? And then they'll, because yeah, you're exactly right. Because think about anything you've ever bought. You might have loved it the first day, that new car, but
hmm
6 months down the road, a year later, you found what? Things you don't like.
right.
Think of think about people you've dated, or maybe somebody you're dating now. The first couple of months, they were like an angel who did no wrong, and then 6 months into it, you found some things you didn't like, and vice versa, right? Because we're humans, right? We're always going to find something we don't like, so we never like anything 100%. So when we just use that little thing there, so do you 100% like what you're doing for a living? Now that's different than say, do you 100% like what you're doing for a living? Yeah, it's not bad. See, why do I need to verbal pace that question out rather than just saying it fast?
Because you just sound robotic. You just sound, and I think pacing it out and just the way you ask the question is a lot more subtle for them to tell you problems. Because if you say it the way you said it the second time, it's like obviously this sales guy is trying to get me to tell him what I don't like so he could sell me, right?
Yeah, it's an obvious question. And because you ask it too fast, it gives the prospect what? No time to internalize and think deeper about what you ask. So they give you a
Right.
knee-jerk surface level answer. Yeah, it's pretty good. And that's what you're going to get. But if I simply slow it down, so I mean, do you 100% like what you're doing for a living? What type of tone I'm using? It's kind of that like kind of on like concerned, like confused tone, right? And well, I wouldn't say 100%, but what don't you like? And then they start to open up. Now, why is, in advanced inner circle, it's really all industry specific. Why do we teach you so much, even about interjecting? In a process, you ask a question, prospect starts to ramble and go off in a different path. Why is, when we trained you how to interject with a clarifying question, what started to change in your ball game?
Yeah, that's something that changed a lot. I was able to control the conversations a lot more. A lot of trainers will tell you to let the person ramble because they're getting their pain out, but they're in full control of the call if they're just rambling after one question. So it allows you to control the call better.
Yeah, it makes them unorganized in their brain. They start to
Right.
ramble on, and then they'll step back, and after they talk for 3 minutes, they'll say, "Oh, can you tell me what you do now?" And
hmm
stuff like they're just rambling on about nothing, and it causes them to have uncertainty because they lose focus. So I have to free. Oh, so just ramble on with me, like, oh, yeah, I'll role play it for everybody. So what do you do for work? What do you do for a living?
I'm in high ticket sales.
Actually,
I've
hold,
been.
hold on. Let's go to a different thing. Like, act like you're one of your prospects. So,
Oh,
do
okay,
you
gotcha, gotcha.
do you 100% like what you're doing for a living?
It's okay. I'm able to have a little freedom in terms of time, but it's just not what I would want. I still have to go to the office every day. I still have to show up every day and answer to this boss, and I don't get to pick when I take time off, etc. So I don't like everything about it, but
Besides the time constraints, what don't you like?
I don't like having to show up every day and having to show up to an office every day.
Wait, why? Some people like that.
Yeah, I think just during COVID, I was able to have a little bit of like a taste of what the freedom of working from home is like. And I was able to
Mm,
spend more time with my kids and my family. And it just
mm.
hasn't been the same ever since. Like I want that back.
How, how many hours are they making you work every week in the office?
Oh, shit, like 10 to 12 a day. So anywhere from like 50 to 60.
And then
Yeah.
how long does it take you to commute there and back each day?
It's like 30 minutes away.
Okay, so you're spending about an hour a day just having to drive.
Yeah.
Okay, so besides just all that crazy drive time and 12 hours at the office, just so I can see the rationale, what's the main reason why you might be looking for your own business rather than just trying to find a job where you're working from home?
Yeah, I mean, even if I have a job that I'm working from home, someone still controls my time, right? Like I still have to be in front of my computer every day when they say. So it's
Yeah.
solving the wrong problem.
Okay, so having that time freedom is important to you.
Yeah, for sure.
Why now though? Why not push it down the road like a lot of people would who never get out of their job?
Yeah, man, I see my kids getting older. I just I see things changing and I don't want to
Yeah.
wait until, until I'm not cool to them to make the change, right? Like I'm still cool to them, so I want to make it now.
All right, so we'll just stop right there. But do you see how like who's controlling the conversation?
You.
But it doesn't sound like I'm like over controlling, like trying to manipulate, right? It sounds conversational,
Hmm.
right? Because I'm
I
using
feel
verb.
like I'm controlling it, right?
You feel like you're controlling it, but I'm really see the way sales is you're the facilitator and you're taking this prospect, this person on this journey. Now
Hmm.
they don't know where the journey ends. You know where the journey can end because you know the solution to their problems, right? So sometimes they take, I always said when I was in the trenches like you guys, I always said selling's like taking a person down the yellow brick road. And sometimes they go off that yellow brick road out into like the jungle and get lost. And it's your job to like reframe their way of thinking to bring them back to that yellow brick road toward the Wizard of Oz castle at the end. So that's why interjecting is so important. So when a prospect starts going off on tangents, you can just say, "Oh, and I wanted to go through that for sure, but I didn't understand when you said that it was causing you pain. How did you mean by that?" And you go back to something they just said and you ask a clarifying question, and immediately it reroutes their brain, their way of thinking back to where you need it to be for them and you. Because if you
Right.
let them keep on going where you have no control, I'm telling you, they're just going to info dump and then you're not going to know what to do. And they're going to then put pressure on you to start telling them about your product and service and your price points, and you will get crushed in sales. Okay, good job. What's another, and I got logged out of here, the Facebook group, so I don't see comments. What's another good, let's go to solution awareness, specifically the second half. What's a good question we've trained you how to ask to get the prospect to kind of really feel what that future is going to look like
Yeah.
once the problems are solved?
Yeah, so I like to paint a picture with my words, right? So I'll
Mhm.
ask them, let's say we are 6 months out. It's like the end of the year, it's December. You are making the 5 to 10K a month from home. Like how different do things look then compared to now? Like what does that change for you?
Okay, and how do people respond to that? Why is that important for your space?
Yeah, it's important because they need to see what success looks like, right? And so they'll start painting the picture for me. They'll say I'm able to go to the park with my kids when they want, and I'm not super tired when I get home. I'm able to have date nights with my wife and things along those lines.
Okay, so they start to see and feel what the future looks like, and they're
Right.
telling you. And then immediately, right after they get them on that emotional high, why are we asking a consequence question then to get them to defend themselves on why they need to make a change rather than push it down the road? Why is that important?
Yeah, because the way I learned it from you guys, you have to build them up so they see what success looks like. And then what happens if they don't take action right after success and then the pitch right after that?
Yeah, it's the same thing. So on the flip side, though, I mean, you certainly sound motivated, but on the flip side, what happens if you don't do anything about this? You just stay at the same job, same commute the next 3, 5, 10 years.
Hmm.
So we start off with a challenging tone and then end with a concern tone. Why is that so important?
Why starting with the challenging and ending with the concerned?
Yeah, why is that so important?
It gets a different level of emotion out of them, right? Especially if you're asking concerned, like it forces them to slow down and think about like what really happens if I don't change and if I don't do anything, and paints
Yeah,
that
because
picture in their mind.
exactly. We want to start the challenging tone because we've got them on this emotional high, right?
Hmm.
At our last solution awareness question. And we want to like trigger that emotion even more when they're like, oh, I feel like it would be this, it would help me this, I would feel this way. Well, you certainly sound motivated, but on the flip side, what happens if you don't do anything about this? I mean, what would happen to you at that point? Okay.
Hmm.
At the end, we want to soften our voice down into that concern tone, a tone that shows empathy. Because as I always say, this is important. Everybody write this down that's watching this or listening. Your tone is how the prospect interprets your intention behind every question you ask. That's how they interpret why you're asking the question in the first place. Is he or she asking me this to manipulate me to sell me? Or are they asking me this because they're concerned about the consequences if nothing happens, if nothing changes? it's a whole different ballgame. It builds massive trust in the prospect, okay, which builds massive urgency for them to change their situation now and do that with you. No trust, no sale, as you know.
Yep.
We don't have time, a lot of time to talk about, presentation or all that kind of stuff. What's a good commitment question we've taught you how to ask to get them to take the next step and purchase what you're offering? Yeah.
Yeah, does this feel like what you need to be able to get to that freedom that we were talking about? Yeah, okay,
And they're
what
like,
makes you feel like it
yeah,
does?
yeah, it does. Yeah. Why do you feel like it is? Why do we ask a probing question there? Even though they said it was, why would we ask that?
So they could further sell us, like, right? Like we want them to sell us on why they think it makes sense.
Yeah, we want them to qualify to us because we're not the one that has the problems. They
Right.
are. We have the solution. So we want them to tell themselves why they want to change with you, because that's them telling themselves rather than you trying to tell them why they should, obviously,
Right.
which is persuasive. All right. So Nick, that was really good. Any last words of advice you'd maybe give to a brand new salesperson that's getting involved in sales, or even a vet who's been around for a long time that maybe thinks they know everything there is to know about sales?
Yeah, so I think the same advice for both. Well, okay, for the person who's brand new, I think you should invest in yourself immediately so you don't start building bad habits, right? And you don't start learning things the wrong way.
Yeah, what job can you get where you don't have an education before you start that job? Can you imagine an engineer like, hey, what do you do for a living? Oh, I'm an engineer. How many years did you go to school? Oh, zero. I'm going to figure out how to build bridges after I get the job.
Hmm.
It's not realistic, right? Or a
Right.
police officer. How many years did you go to the academy? Oh, none. They just told me to give me a gun and I'll figure it out when I get out there.
Hmm.
Military. Oh, I didn't go to boot camp. No, they just dropped me off in the middle of Afghanistan. They said it'd figure out once I got it. See, there's no career where you ask somebody, hey, what do you do for a living? And then how long did you go to school for that? Where they're like, oh, salespeople are like, hey, what do you do? Oh, I'm in sales. How many years did you go to sales and persuasion school? Zero. It's
Right.
like the person's like, well, I'm going to get the job and then figure out how to sell after I get the job. And that is why sales has the highest attrition rate in the world. Did you know that? Most
It
people,
makes sense, yeah.
yeah, because they don't really have much training before they start the job. And if you're not selling that much the first month or two, what are most bosses going to do?
Kick you right out. Yep.
You're fired, you're out. And then it's hard to get another sales job. So wouldn't it make sense? Wouldn't it be rational to think, hey, I need to learn how to sell. So when I start the job the first day, I'm actually making sales. I make sales the first day, the first week, the first month. And then how does my boss view me now? Wow, this person is a go-getter. They already kind of knew how to sell when they came here. That caused you to get promoted compared to all the guys who are 2 months later trying to figure it out, and most of them get canned and fired. That's why salespeople, it's crazy. All right, what about the vet? What would you tell the vet?
Yeah, man. So for the vet, I make more than I've been selling for 15 months and make more than people who've been selling for 15 years, right? And the difference is like you always say my skill set. And so if you are years into your career and you consider yourself a vet, but you're not making what you want to make, you're in your own way, right? Like you're in your own way.
Yeah. I always say low six-figure salespeople have high egos. They think they know everything there's known about selling, and then they just stop progressing. It's the same thing as you. You tripled sales, then you got into our advanced inner circle, and you doubled that. Which,
Hmm.
I mean, that's quite a bit of coin. So well done.
Yeah,
Okay. But the thing is, you're still here learning.
I
You're
am.
still fine. You're still going through the training because you're like, hey, I got to get up a next level. Like, why can't I double that? Right. So that's the important part. All right, everybody. Hey, Nick, well done. I just wanted to congratulate you. Well done on your success, and just stay in there in the program. Keep going through the training calls and the archived recordings as a client. And I want to see where you're at in 6 months from now, because I'm assuming you could actually double what you're doing now. A few
For
tweaks.
sure. For sure. Let's revisit this 6 months. Let's see how things are looking then.
All right, baby, you do well. All right, everybody, thanks for being on here. I'm going live here from Las Vegas today. I had a speaking engagement here with Selling Power Magazine. Love those guys. Their Sales 3.0 event. Big companies were here, about 250 companies represented here, mainly CEOs of those companies, founders of those companies, CROs. several Fortune 100, 500, and Fortune 1000 companies here. Big companies, even like McKinsey was here, and some of these big daddies, big boys. It was good. Had a good hour up there training them in NEPQ for their different industries, and it was an interesting experience. I love doing keynotes, so they let us go live here in this conference room. We'll see everybody next Tuesday when I go live. Nick, enjoy the rest of your week. Congratulations on your success. We look forward to seeing you soon, everybody. Thanks,
All right.
everybody.
See you next week. Appreciate you. Peace.
Thank you, Nick.